Hello everyone, the December review here, back again with a movie review. Today, we have the smash hit latest entry in the Willy Wonka universe. The film is still in theaters and can be found on all the usual streaming services. Spoilers are ahead, so make sure to check out the film. Way back in 1971, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory debuted, starring the legendary Gene Wilder and scaring the heck out of everyone who watched it, with its tales of candy destruction and one crazy boat trip. It was also a fantastic musical and a heartwarming story about family, loyalty, and Oompa Loompas. Then in 2005, the story was brought back to the big screen, this time behind Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, in a more faithful adaptation to the book, but resulting in a film that this viewer was a bit indifferent to. Mr. Wonka is back, now in prequel form, with the latest entry directed by Paul King. While this latest offering doesn't bill itself as a direct prequel to any of the first two films, it does share quite a lot of space with the original film. So much so that while watching it, I found myself placing the events squarely in line with that film, and by the time the credits rolled, I was never disappointed with the journey. In other words, this felt much like a direct prequel. For its story, Willy Wonka travels to Europe and hopes to start up his long sought-after chocolate store. With no money to his name, he ends up spending a night at a local scam hotel. After not reading the fine print of the contract that he signed, Wonka is banished to years of working off his stay, locked away along with others who have made the same mistake. But you can't keep a good Wonka down as he and his new friends figure out a way to sneak out and begin his candy store journey. But this city is run by the evil Slugworth and his chocolate partners in crime. Think of it as The Sopranos, but with much more candy. With his dream and life in mortal danger, will Wonka be able to fully escape his captors, take down the evil bad guys, and forge ahead with his destiny? You bet he will. Clocking in at just under 2 hours, Wonka is a lovely take on the established material. In an age of reboots, prequels, and legacy stories, Wonka could have just been another big-budget CGI tale locked into a big opening weekend, then forgotten by the time the next hyped film gets released. But thankfully, that isn't the case here. This happens to be a film that can stand together with the original film quite well, taking viewers on an uplifting musical expedition. There are some differences, though, between our expectations and the film. For starters, this isn't the bit jaded Wonka, the slightly sarcastic and almost evil Gene Wilder version. This Wonka hasn't got there yet. Here, Willy is hopeful and steadfast with his vision and dream of opening the store. We learn he wanted to be a magician who pivoted to chocolate, and that sleight of hand is ever present in everything that the character does, helping to wow his customer base and friends along the way. There's a fantastic flashback scene here in which Wonka describes the start of his chocolate path, sets forth in flipbook pages, which in and of itself is a great visual, then proceeds to set up the movie's emotional anchor between Willy and his mom. And there's a great moment here involving the moon as it comes into view then disappears, all within the context of the conversation. This scene is an excellent example of perfect movie making. As an origin story, the movie drops in plenty of established material, but does so without feeling too on the nose. It's not so much, hey look, it's an Oompa Loompa, so much as elaborating on how the relationship between Wonka and them began. Same for the familiar candy concoctions such as flowers and mugs. They aren't here just because the audience might remember them, but to serve the story and connect the world of Wonka, which to me helped the enjoyment factor tremendously. Case in point would be said Oompa Loompa. There isn't a whole lot of them here just yet, only one, voiced with some bite by Hugh Grant. And he isn't there to assist Wonka, but to seek revenge over his perceived vendetta against the character. The film manages to twist a few key moments from the original regarding the Oompa Loompas, including the use of the whistle, and one memorable phrase from Gene Wilder which Grant actually says here. This all connects some dots from both films, all without feeling forced. For his band of new friends all trapped in the overnight, each gets their own personality and moment to assist along the way. None more so than Noodle, who becomes Wonka's main friend, and the movie expands into both of their narratives, which all ties together quite well. On the musical side, the film pulls a few familiar notes, bringing back some tried and true fan favorites, including Pure Imagination and the Oompa Loompa song. There's plenty of new score during the film, including a standout involving Slugworth and his henchmen trying to get a bribe over. It's one of the best and elaborate numbers in the film. I also quite enjoy the opening of the store. The early mechanisms to what would eventually become the Wonka factories all on display. The CGI here is pretty great in general. Yes, it all doesn't feel as genuine as the original with its built set pieces, but I wasn't overly distracted with some of the effects work. Some of it is noticeable, like the chocolate mixing room used at the end, but it's great work overall, which only adds to the film's charm. And that ending, man, the film really wraps up its message and goes straight to its emotional center. I was genuinely emotional by its conclusion. The family dynamic for Wonka and his mom was grade A storytelling. So overall, Wonka is as good as you've been hearing, and it's evident with its rather remarkable box office run. The film takes the Wonka universe and weaves an excellent origin story which for me felt mostly in lockstep with the classic original film. That's a very rare thing to pull off. The acting, the music, the journey, it all had a lot of effort behind it, which was totally captured on screen, resulting in a funny and emotional and excellent film. I give Wonka 4 out of 5 stars.